Hello, everyone. Welcome to Decked. I'm Tyler, and with me today is my friend Ray.
How's it going, Tyler?
Good, Ray. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Thanks for coming back.
Hey, no problem.
Coming back twice, in fact.
Yes.
Because as you can see, we're right now on the screen. Ray and I are playing a game of Call of Cthulhu, the card game. I'm on the left in the hoodie. Well,
And I'm on the right in the red shirt, not maroon, red,
right.
with the wonderful-looking pink Cthulhus.
Yes. Ray has started bleeding out his Call of Cthulhu set with... well, tell us how you made those.
Actually, I went to a 3D print shop, and I had them scan one of the normal-sized Cthulhus, reduce it down to 50%, which appears to be about the size of the mini Cthulhus, and I had them 3D print me some pink Cthulhus of some highly durable plastic.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. It's a way to make your side of the table much more distinctive, particularly with your orange sleeves.
Yes, especially with my orange sleeves, and if I'd remembered my playmat.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I've seen your playmat once, and I think that was enough. But someday people will see it, and they can decide for themselves.
This is very true.
So
Looks like I took a mulligan here. So
yes, we're sort of jumping into play. I think I might have mulliganed as well earlier on, but I can't remember anymore. So what deck are you playing in this match, Ray?
In this match, I am playing my skill list deck, which I have played previously on Decked here.
Yes.
It is a Syndicate Hastur deck based on lowering my opponent's character's skills to nothing.
Right, to the point of destruction in some cases.
Yes.
And I'm playing a mono Syndicate deck based on the deck list from the Denizens of the Underworld box set. It's the one that started out. I can't remember the theme of it anymore, but it's the one I've played since the box came out, and I've been sort of adding in cards and supplementing. Although I think these matches have taught me that David Pan really, really needs to be in the deck.
David Pan is an amazing card.
Mm-hmm.
And you're using your appropriate playmat for this matchup, coincidentally
right.
enough.
Yeah, this playmat is really just germane when I'm playing Syndicate decks, but since it's my only playmat and the odds of me winning another one are getting slimmer the more people start playing this game, I'm going to take it and treasure it. I think you made me go first. You made me go first almost every match that night, I think.
Most of the time, yeah. I think there was... No, I think that was another time we played. I think I did make you go first every time, at the very least when I won the flips.
Mm-hmm. And when I won the flips, I generally went first because I'm giving that a try of thinking that as having characters on the table and an extra card in hand.
It is definitely nice to have the characters on the table right away. I like having more options when I go to resource my first card. Therefore, I like drawing two cards.
Right, and that can play a factor into who the decision you make when the token is flipped.
Right.
And we're such fastidious resourcers, we never have any idea what cards we actually put under there.
Yeah, no, we hide them from each other, even though it's open knowledge in the game.
And is that Lena?
No, that is a Patsy.
That's a Oh, right. That was a really rough turn for me. I was like, oh, I can play a Patsy.
Yes, you played a Patsy.
Which is great if there are success tokens on the table. There aren't.
Right. And at least 2 success tokens. That's the worst part.
Right. Yeah,
I am being secretive about what I'm going to.
I'm remembering now. I was not excited about
Super
this
secretive.
turn.
Look at this. You can't even tell it.
Nope.
I did diversify. That's a Hastur card there that's gone under.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Victoria Glasser.
And then there goes the Patsy Insane.
Yep.
Victoria. See, I the only time I've ever gotten to play Victoria was the deck you had built previously.
Right.
And I think you used cards like that to much greater effect in this situation. Although I still think the Syndicate cards are making that deck what it is.
Yes. You've played On the Lamb on Victoria, which means she does not get to straighten until after the beginning of your next turn. So.
That might have been a premature play on my part, but...
It may have been, but it did keep her tapped down for a turn.
That was the intent. It's just I don't think there's a good solid rule of do I save this for later or do I utilize it now? Because I think I knew going into this your deck did not have a lot of beefy stuff in it per se.
Right.
I mean, it's definitely got like Lang Spiders and David Pan, but I think those are about as beefy as they get.
Right, and waiting for me to get, a Pan or a Spider, as it were, is just not worth it to some extent.
Mm-hmm. And I'm deliberating. So much deliberation in this game.
A lot of deliberation, but if I recall right, you had, I mean, your first turn was just a patsy, so.
It was not a good start, and that was after the
Right.
mulligan, if there were a mulligan.
Right.
Or you never know. It's been a week. We're
It
still
has
figuring
been
out
a
what we
week.
were talking about. And there are other games running in our head. The Hatchet Man.
The Hatchet Man. Now, one thing to know, I do know that I do remember this, one of my Syndicate resourced cards over there is a Hatchet Man. And
Now, why did you resource a Hatchet Man when he's such a good early play?
because I had David Pan and he only comes out a turn after. The Hatchet Man's good if I can't fish up a David Pan, but a lot of times it gets resourced away just because of that. At the very least, in my initial 3 cards.
Right. If he shows up later, you're going to play him?
Right.
Yeah. And down comes... Oh, the Guzang.
Yes, the Guzang. The Hatchet Man now has a skill of 0. He's happy.
He's worthless.
He's like, ooh, musical instrument. I can kill people with this. Ooh, doo, 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 doo. And what else am I playing?
Demon Lover?
That is not a Demon Lover, no. Wow, I'm drawing a total blank on what that card is off the top of my head.
It'll come to you. So the thing about the Guzang that it's always got me, or that I'm still learning, is the kicker of the character goes insane after uncommitting.
Yes. Oh, and there's a lamp going on Victoria.
You love that lamp.
I do
You
love
love lamp.
lamps. I do love lamp. I love lamp. I'm going to have shirts made that say I love lamp. No, I really do like that lamp. I still do not understand exactly why it's Syndicate. I'm sure if I paid a little more attention to my mythos, I would know. But
The Syndicate is manufactured out of whole cloth. They don't exist in the Lovecraft canon.
see, and that's kind of what I thought. I thought maybe the lamp. I'm guessing the lamp is just something that's desired by thieves, and therefore it's
Yeah, it's an antiquity that happens to be magically powerful.
right. That
It's the same way that the Syndicate has their own copy of the Necronomicon.
right.
And I have sent the Hatchet Man over there as a chump blocker. I sent him over there because I wanted to knock the Guzang off him. That was it.
Yes, and he was going to go insane from Victoria's terror icons now because of the lamp and her natural terror icons anyways. So. And I have won my first story.
It didn't take long.
It did not, no. With you only having 1 play on the opening turn.
It was not a good opening turn. And I'm not trying to use that as an excuse for why the game goes the way it did, but it didn't help.
It didn't help, right? If there's one thing I've learned in this game, it's really hard to recover from a rough start. I'm currently shuffling the Guzang back into my deck as per the rules of the card.
Yep, because it's a relic.
Because it's a relic, exactly.
And that's just something I will often find myself forgetting is relics behave differently. Although you don't want to forget that because getting them back in the deck is generally beneficial.
Yes.
Particularly those limited use things like the Kopesh of the Abyss and the Guzang.
I think that the relics were definitely designed to be limited use.
Oh, some of them are highly questionable. Like Elliot Ness's handcuffs. Who's using those?
Somebody who's really going hard for the law enforcement theme, or they just really wanted to play with all the cards that reference real world things. Well, you are having a productive turn here.
It's not great. It's a Clover Club is what that is.
That's a Clover Club, and I do believe you played a Clover Club High Roller.
It is a High Roller.
I think that's a Messenger from Beyond that I played.
Okay.
Not entirely sure on that.
I'm not familiar with the Haster faction well enough to know.
Honestly, it's a filler card in the deck. At the moment, it's basically there to be resourced if I need to resource a Hastur card, or it can help me out. I do believe it removes terror icons from characters.
Right.
With a small payment.
Which could be beneficial for your side.
Yes.
Depending on the matchup. And that is... that's not another High Roller.
That is not another High Roller, no. That is...
Well, why don't you, Phil, while I take a look at who
Yeah. You're definitely deciding on what to do on this turn, as you've now out-charactered me. Your Hatchet Man's still back and not being able to do much, and your Clover Club being out.
It's Tommy.
It's Tommy. Thank you.
I was frustrated because I didn't see a scenario where I was going to be able to trick him into play.
Yep.
So I just hard played him.
All right, looks like you're going all in on the story you've already got 2 success tokens on.
Desperately wanted to get that story. A story is all I wanted.
Right, and that's second dragon, I do believe.
Yep. Which was a poor choice when I think, as we see this unfold, I think my choice is going to be a poor one. You're defending with Victoria and the lamp and something that might be a messenger from beyond.
Yes.
Drive.
Insane. I'm losing something to combat. I didn't want to lose Victoria, that's why I did 2 things.
Yep.
Saying you had skill and winning the story on your side on that one.
Mm-hmm. That was a lot of work for 4 tokens. I'm wondering if I think the thing I'm learning is it's important to be a little more circumspect about when to commit to stories.
Yeah, I honestly have that issue a lot too. I have a tendency to get overzealous on my turn and forget that sometimes the best offense is a good defense.
Mm-hmm. Particularly with this setup where you've got terror icons, which I have to contend with somehow.
Exactly. Terror, and because I've got the lamp, she's also got the combat at the moment. Now, I do remember my initial play this turn was going to be to play the Clover Club. Mm-hmm. Because I had a copy of it in my hand as well. But after you played yours, I realized that I needed to be a little bit more offensive. I also played so I've played Mr. David Pan, and I played a Patsy, mm-hmm. and I just used the Patsy to get rid of your 2 tokens that you had gotten last turn.
Yep.
So I decided I need to be a little bit more offensive than trying to control the board, which is what I use the Clover Club for. Mm-hmm. So I, coincidentally enough, just resourced it.
Yeah. I'm thinking in this mono deck that I've been using from the box set, it's the Clover Club's not super helpful because it's a blanket 1 skill reduction, but you need to be able to capitalize on the skill reduction. And the way I wound up taking this deck afterward, it tended more towards exhaustion and prevent use effects.
Right.
Like there's a lot of on the lam and immurement and pay tribute.
Right.
And there's less about taking away skill. Whereas you've gone more towards manipulating skill into your advantage.
Yes, that was my initial plan. The first chapter packs, or what are they called?
Asylum packs.
Asylum packs. Thank you. I do believe chapter packs is Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. My first Asylum pack I got was had Mr. David Pan in it, mm-hmm. and so I tend to be attached to that Asylum pack, and I tried to jam any card that I had from that Asylum pack into my deck.
Really good pull for that.
Right, but he is a really good pull for that. I've had to shy away from some of the cards in that pack and some of my other decks, but
I think you should be using Lee Flint in all your decks, personally.
Yeah, see, you would think I should be using. I keep wanting to use the Jade Salesman too, as I've yet to actually build a Cthulhu, a deck with the Cthulhu faction in it that I'm using on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. And I keep wanting to use the Jade Salesman, but it's so situational. It's like, increase the cost of attachments. Yep.
Well, it's great for Goozangs.
It is great for Goozangs, that's true. But I'm not playing against my own deck that often. So.
Nope.
And you don't play Hastur.
And I think I threw out a Bella Luna over there.
Yes, you did.
And a third support card. That could be Dutch Courage. It is a Dutch Courage.
Yes, it is a Dutch Courage. That's right.
Not the supports I was looking for, but I needed to play them out. Thought they'd be a little bit helpful.
Right.
The Bella Luna really becomes exceptional when a crooked lawyer attorney shows up, because he makes it day, and Bella Luna lets all their criminals refresh when it's day.
Yes.
I really enjoy when those 2 cards work together. That did not happen in this scenario.
No crooked attorneys for you.
Nope. So I'm weighing whether or not to go up against David Pan and Victoria.
Lamped Victoria.
Yeah, Victoria Loving Lamp.
I did realize when we were playing this game that the lamp is counterintuitive to David Pan. they definitely fill two separate
Right.
roles.
They generally don't want to travel together.
Exactly.
Unless you're worried about a weird corner case where David himself has been blanked.
Right. Which is entirely possible.
Yeah, and it's useful in that regard, but generally they're not going to work together.
Right.
And the great thing about the way we do these is we never know what the Hatchet Man is
Choosing
to make skill dependent. So we can only guess at this point. It's probably combat or terror. Probably terror.
Yeah, it's most likely combat or terror, and you're right, it probably is terror. What we should do, mental note for future things, is we should probably point to it on the card. That when we go back to this, we know what we're doing.
I can only do so many things at once in these games, right?
That's true.
I'm so busy focusing on the ways you're going to win.
I don't always win.
No, you don't always win. That's because you have fewer cards. When we reach
that.
card parity, I know I'm done.
We're getting there.
Second dragon, and the middle one is Heart of the Labyrinth, I believe, which is about when it's. Oh, you just opted not to defend.
I did opt not to defend.
And this is where I think I made a mistake. I triggered second dragon, which I probably should not have done.
Actually, no, you were perfectly fine triggering second dragon here because both my characters in play are unique.
Then I'm thinking of another match because it was definitely one where it benefited you significantly more than it did me.
Yeah, I was unable to go and fetch anything because Mr. David Pan and Victoria Glasser both are
unique characters.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, everybody, this episode of Deck is brought to you by Grenfell Meadery with Valkyrie's Choice Mead.
A very, very choice mead.
Mm-hmm. It's tasty. It's made locally, 1 town over, 2 towns over.
Yeah, 2 towns.
Depends on where you're entering the town. And when, because at one point the town in between was part of the other town.
Yes, it was.
Agonizing. Probably going for a Hatchet Man, I bet. That's my bet. I'm betting I went for a Hatchet Man. And then I realized the other Hatchet Man was dead or resourced. I found him.
You found him.
But I only found one, which was a huge disappointment.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose you could have gone for a bunch of patsies, but...
Would not have been helpful.
I could have sacrificed them all to remove tokens.
I wonder if it would have been helpful if I had used the patsy aggressively like that. I was just so concerned about having bodies available.
Things to get terrorized and...
Right. Because David Pan, I don't know why a humble old man like that is so terrifying, but he is.
He's very terrifying. If there's one thing the Cthulhu mythos has taught us, it's don't underestimate the things that shouldn't be terrifying.
Mm-hmm. That's why, I mean, matchups like this, where you sort of you're pitting the same tools against each other, I wish there was more uncharacteristic tools available. Like if Syndicate had a couple blanking cards.
Right, okay, I see what you're saying.
Because, both of these decks are about exhaust a character, reduce the character's skill.
Right.
The Syndicate breaks the rules in very specific ways, but as the rule breaking faction, I wonder if they were a little more jack of all trades, if it makes matchups between two similar decks less predictable.
Right.
Although even in this case, it is a little they're different because you went towards skill manipulation and I went for ready exhaust.
Yep.
Or the deck list is that the Guzang again?
That's a Guzang again.
That's a Guzang.
Hatchet Man with a Guzang. Those Hatchet Men, they're secretly very musical.
Mm-hmm. The fit just takes them over and they can't stop.
That's right. That's Henry Knoll right there.
Henry fucking Knoll.
Henry fucking Knoll, yes. He has the ability to start destroying people when he readies.
Right. Because he reduces their skill and gives them text that would destroy them if it's 0 skill.
Correct.
Which is, I know I've said this before, but I just find it interesting when cards start granting each other text, possibly against the controller's will.
Yes. Actually, most of the time it's against the controller's will. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of times cards don't grant text, per se, to other cards in a beneficial manner.
Right, curses, for instance. A lot of the curse attachments are all about do a bad thing to this thing is attached to. And then they're going after...
It does make an interesting side note of when you could want to possibly blank one of your own characters if it's got a text that you don't want it to have.
I have thought about that on occasion. I don't think I've ever been forced to do it, but it's always been like, oh, I could do that.
Yeah, it's one of those weird, really corner situational cases where, oh man, I really need this character to survive because I need all those icons, so I'm going to blank his text box.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
Alright.
you went after, I'm guessing one's a new challenge.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in time, I've got a story banked. I'm going after the other two that I have
Mm-hmm.
3 success tokens on.
Mm-hmm.
No conspiracies being played in this game. I know I don't have any in my deck.
No, nor I. Although the Syndicate did get a very interesting conspiracy where there are no struggles. It's just a skill check.
Yes,
A cunning ruse.
a cunning ruse. And whenever you go to place, is that the one? Whenever you go to place a success token on it, you can put it on any other story with nobody attached to it.
Sounds plausible.
I do believe that's what it is. If you go to place a success token on it, you can place a success token instead on a story with no characters committed to it. Hence the ruse aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it does make it very hard to get rid of when there's no other icon struggles at it.
Right. Because there isn't a lot that will affect a conspiracy once it's in play.
Right.
I think the agency picked up something. The
I think
the secret agent. There's a new secret agent lady.
Yes, there is. I can't remember what she does right off the top of my head, but
And she's got like a bright yellow-orange trench coat, and she can return a conspiracy.
I think she returns conspiracies to the deck.
Yep. Which I thought was very cool.
They get shuffled in. All right, so you have a skillless hatchet man and a
Yep. I'm probably going for another chump block where the Guzang Hatchet Man will go insane.
right.
Oh, I'm changing my mind.
Yep.
Ugh. Games like this, I should just let it go.
Right, because both of those you'd have been taking rid of combat and terror most likely. But the problem is that I actually have 6 skill going over there to your 3 at this point in time.
And this is the thing that drove me nuts about this match was like, I'm playing Syndicate. Why do I have so little skill?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was really just because I was being a a jerk. Oh, I'm playing a card.
Is it Get On Your Feet? I bet it's Get On Your Feet.
No, it's like a moth.
That's the one.
Um,
Reduce printed skill.
Yeah, reduce printed skill to 0.
I told you to use Like a Moth.
I really like that card.
It's one of the few printed skill reducers.
Yes.
And that doesn't... I forget, there's some interesting cases where that matters.
Yeah, because there's some cards that say with printed skill blah.
Yeah.
And you are playing something that I have no idea what it is.
You don't believe I'm playing it, clearly, because you need to read the card yourself.
I need to read the card myself.
It's a Murement. I mirrored somebody.
Ah, you did. You mirrored Victoria.
Yeah. I love a Murement.
Which not only got rid of Victoria, but got rid of the lamp as well.
Which is an interesting conversation that's been going on with the release of For the Greater Good, is the argument about how attachments are... You wind up getting 2-for-1 on destruction and removal.
You do. It's in many card games, it's a common case. It's a common talk thing about how... apparently, I've decided to resolve the Mr. David Pan story before the other one because you were already over there. But yes, the concept of attachments and 2-for-1ing is a huge thing in many card games. About how the value of an attachment, or in the case of like Magic, an Aura card or things like that, is greatly devalued because when your opponent plays something, it to get rid of whatever it's attached to, you're losing 2 cards for the 1 card that they're playing. And it's a huge setback. Sometimes it's worth it. I mean, I got my use out of my lamp.
Yep.
But, you know, if you'd immured her right off the bat, then right after I played the lamp on her, then I would have lost the lamp, and that would have been down 2 cards to your 1, so...
And that turned out to be a shockingly brief episode of Decked, or we'd go into deeper about
how
good
it did.
attachments are.
Yes, it did. Because with the 0 skill from Like a Moth, Henry Knoll won that one. And
Yep, he cleaned so we're going to have to let everybody go. Thanks for listening to Decked. You should check out our YouTube channel for more episodes, youtube.com/deckedshow. Check it out. Ray, thanks for coming on.
Hey, no problem.
We'll talk to you next time on Decked, and stick around and see what else we got.
All right.